Welcome back again to the What Did You Think podcast. Um, it's been a while. No. As you can see, Cameron's
Episode.
oh yeah, we forgot the intro. Scratch it. If you can't. The funny thing is, we're trying not to edit as much, and I do a great job at botching the intro immediately. All right, let's collect ourselves. Welcome to the What Did You Think podcast, episode
33.
33. It's been a while again. We had the little Oppenheimer Barbie episode as our big comeback, and then we decided to not post anything for like 2 months.
Yeah, but with our anniversary for the podcast coming around the corner and some exciting it's been a little dry lately in the reasonably so with all the strikes and stuff. There hasn't been a lot going on. There has been some things we haven't talked about and we won't talk about in depth. Like we're not going to do an Asteroid City thing like we were planning on it. But for those of you who don't like close your eyes and click random YouTube videos, you might have read the title for this episode. And saw that saw what we're talking about today.
So a few things. We have been pretty busy as far as us watching stuff, right?
Sure, I guess.
And we're planning on probably making an episode kind of recapping what we've watched and what we did. Like we went to the Heartland International Film Festival, the festival that sparked this.
True.
You know,
I will say every time we talk about our plans on the podcast, they always fall through. So I wasn't going to go into detail, but I'd say we have this episode and 2 more at least, and like we have ideas for them. So
yeah. So I mean, I'm super excited to kind of talk more about a lot of the stuff, as I think Cameron is too, right? Yeah. You know, I think we saw some pretty good movies. Both probably do deserve their own episode, but that's kind of more technical aspect. We'll talk about that later. A few things. Well, we got to throw this in there. I applied for Survivor. So all of you hardcore What Did You Think fans, I'll be representing us on the island. So
yes, sir.
How cool is that? Very. But yeah, if you read by the title, you probably just clicked on it because you saw the name Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
And
welcome.
What could it be? It's not the Lorax, no, even though she was in it.
It's not
Amsterdam when she died by getting hit by a car. It's not the whole show of New Girl that she was in one scene of. It is the Eras Tour, the movie. Is that what it's called?
Is it like the concert experience or something?
It is called Taylor Swift
the Eras Tour. It's just called that.
Okay. Yeah. And it stars Taylor Swift.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. I mean, so I know, like I said, we're trying to get used to this. There's probably going to be some bad blood between us. Okay. So you just got to shake it off because,
I know we're episode 33, but since it's been a break and we're back, I'm feeling 22. It's feeling this might be some episode 22 in energy right here.
And we can show you incrable things, right?
Yeah.
So
she wears short skirts, I wear t-shirts, she's your captain, and I'm on the bleachers.
Right.
Why don't you talk about your history? So why don't you talk about your history with Taylor Swift for a little bit?
That's such a good question. So when I was a young wee lad, I remember listening to the radio and I heard that Short Skirt song. I was like, oh, catchy. 5 years later, I find out that was Taylor Swift, my first introduction to her. No, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't the biggest Taylor Swift fan. The first thing I saw her in was New Girl, and that was like last year. So, and then we saw Amsterdam together, which was pretty bad.
Yeah.
But as far as her music goes, going into the concert movie thing, I knew probably like 4 songs. Going out of it, I know probably 4 songs
Yeah.
still,
Uh,
but it was fun.
yeah, my experience, I have a one up over Ben because I grew up with a sister. So I heard
Oh,
a little bit more. I knew a lot of her earlier stuff, and I kind of fell off of paying attention after Shake It Off came out. Um,
right.
so and which we were both really excited. We were waiting the entire time for Shake It Off, hoping and praying that it was part of it because we didn't look at the track list, and it did not disappoint. But yeah, that just going into this, we're not the hugest fans. We don't know the lore. We don't know
Yeah,
the
we
different eras. You
we
know,
haven't caught up with any of the Taylor Swift. I don't even know the boyfriends, and apparently that's a big thing. I don't want that's rude to say because I don't want to say the boyfriends are like
we don't
representation
really
of
know the stories behind the music. We just kind of
exactly. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. I know one song is about
I
one person, I
yeah.
think,
I had
but
seen the All Too Well short film when it came out because there was a
that's
lot of buzz around that.
yeah.
Um,
With the Sadie Sink one.
yeah,
Okay. I haven't.
and I liked it. You know, I as someone, I mean, I'm not one of those people who's like, there's a lot of people who say she can't sing and she's a bad songwriter. I'm nowhere near that. I think she's good
Right.
at what she does, but I've just never been interested all that much in what she does. Um, because yeah,
Respectfully,
yeah,
I mean, I'm not even that big of a like my
exactly.
genre of music is like musicals and then
A-
like just
a-
jazz.
right. Anything.
So
My genre of music is anything that plays in a movie I'm watching. I don't. Yeah.
right, or like music that's on in the background while I'm eating food at a
Right.
restaurant. Like
Right.
that's my favorite music. So, um, I'm not one
I
to
went to
sit
a TGI Fridays the other day and they were playing like really intense electronic dance music. And it
really.
was weird.
I remember I went to a PF Chang's and they were playing like lo-fi like study music.
Yeah.
Uh
Lo-fi beats
and
to PF Chang too.
it really was though. It was like I swear, and it was kind of just the same thing over and over again. And I did not like the food either, so that didn't help. But no, what I was gonna say is I'm not one to like, especially when a new album comes out for anything, I'm not one to sit down and like listen to the whole album. If that's your thing, I completely get it. But for me, um, I've got crippling ADHD, so I cannot make it through one
Yeah,
song.
the only time I've ever sat through a whole album was for someone who like we know that makes music. They specifically
Oh
asked me
wow.
to.
I
So,
feel bad for you.
you know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, Riley?
Yeah. No, I enjoyed it. It
I'm
was
just kidding.
yeah.
The fact that he got to
No,
make music, I
yeah,
think is
the
cool.
thing is what I'm saying is if Taylor Swift were to personally ask me to listen to her albums, I would, but she
Well,
hasn't, so I didn't.
so that's the thing too, is like, so we would not have recorded an episode like this, but Taylor was just begging us. Like, I probably the same for you. She was just calling us. Probably, I had to block her number personally because she was
Well,
just like,
she didn't call me, she just kind
please.
of came over like she normally does.
Oh,
You know,
with their private jet, right?
we play Uno every Thursday. So at our latest Uno sesh, she was like, "You're gonna make an episode on us. What if that's your big comeback?"
Or-
And I was
or-
like, "Okay."
And then
Um,
Cameron approached me. He was like, "Hey, so I was talking to the T because that's what they call each other. I was like, who's the T? And she's like, T Swifty. I was
yeah,
like, Taylor Swift? Because I didn't know they were on a nickname basis. So I was like, oh, that's so cool. What'd she say? She mentioned me at all? And she was like, yeah, she mentioned she was a big fan. Which, I mean, I
I,
kind of knew, who isn't.
yeah.
Um,
See,
so
I don't. None of this is honest. We strive for honesty on this podcast. Okay, my Uno story was real. This blasphemy.
so I was excited to go to the theater and see this. Here's the thing. I would not have watched it if if it was like a straight to DVD release or like straight
Like
to
a
the streaming
streaming.
service.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think the theater experience is something, in my opinion, could have been a lot better, but that's just kind of on us for choosing the like 9:30 p.m.
well, it's actually on you
Um,
for choosing the 9:30 p.m. I want to go at 8.
I had to work and I
Yeah.
rushed from work,
Hmm.
uh, showing up to the theater all sweaty to jam out.
Yeah, and Jam
Not
Out
sweaty because
we
go
did.
ahead.
I was gonna say, and Jam Out we did. We didn't get to a
Yeah.
super full showing, but the girl sitting next to me was dancing the whole time,
And that's
and
awesome.
that's
And you know
awesome.
what?
Exactly. Yeah,
I get so frustrated at people like getting upset that people are like dancing in the theater.
I do
What are
think
you
there's a
watching?
certain line, right? Like, don't be throwing popcorn everywhere. Don't
Don't be
scream on the top of
recording
your
people.
lungs.
I've seen people been like recording like other people that aren't dancing. Like, leave us out of it. I was bopping my head though. I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
was.
definitely. And like this girl, she was staying in her personal space. She wasn't being
Yeah.
loud. There was no reason to be upset at what she was doing.
And if she was being loud and like singing along, I feel like I wouldn't have had an issue with it
Well,
personally.
yeah, but I mean,
Because I will say I think they turn up the speakers too. I don't know if maybe I'm just old man and my hearing is fading as my hairline is as well. But I think I think it's completely fine if you sing along and dance to it. Especially since she said that like she wants people to do that. I think it's fine.
I mean, she said that to the people at the concert. We were in a anyway. No, I agree. I agree. I agree. Speaking of the concert itself, we should talk about it.
Yeah, we should. We definitely should.
So
Um
I mean, like we said, we didn't really know anything about the era. So really, this was just us listening to her songs for probably the first time for most of them,
it
and
was probably
then
like listening like the best of 17
yeah,
years.
yeah,
Um and now I mean I will say kind of before we jump into it, now she's releasing all of her like Taylor's version of stuff, which is pretty cool. I looked into it because I had no idea what it was.
big fan.
And my and my wife was like, "Oh, is that the TV version or straight to television version or something like that?" Which I thought it was too, but I get to make fun of her because she's not here to defend herself. So, but apparently, uh, like the studios, or the studio that she was making her music under was pretty controlling and cut a lot of like what she wanted in her own music. So now this is her version of what she wanted the song to be, apparently. And she's gonna be doing that of a few albums. I don't know if it's all of
Well,
them, but
hmm, actually, if my screen was on, you'd see me pushing my glasses up. Her label owns the rights to all of her songs, so and they were being really aggressive with the like how much of a cut she was getting. So she just left them and then re-recorded all of her songs.
good.
So
I mean,
that
that's awesome.
yeah, so
Uh,
she owns those
also,
versions.
uh, from a technical aspect, this is probably got to be one of the cheapest movies ever made because they literally only like
I don't
the
know about that. I mean, it was a
uh,
massive stadium with like a like
but it was not made for a movie. My thing is they just recorded her at the concert, like, hey, let's just edit this into a
well,
movie.
actually,
And
here's the thing. It was actually I looked this up later. It was three different shows put together.
really,
Yeah, they used clips from three different shows.
I thought they were at SoFi the whole time.
I I mean, unless I read it wrong, and I guess she toured there three times. I don't know, but I read somewhere that it was three different shows cut together. If I'm wrong, I've been wrong before. You know, it's
Yeah,
okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. But uh, the stage does like what I was really impressed with the way that the stage was laid out because it wasn't just a stage. It was moving around. The floor would rise. Like
yeah,
there was a
that's
screen on the
nuts.
floor and a screen on the back, and it is just a from a technical, set design aspect. It was pretty
Really
cool.
cool. And
Yeah.
I think that's how you should do a concert. I think you need to be interactive instead of just like standing and singing. Because first of all, I'm shocked by the energy that she has to have to do this. Like, not she's doing like, and she's doing another show next year, uh, and or no, like another tour next year, or the same tour next year. Either way, she's got to be so worn out. Like I feel like to just be singing, dancing, knowing all of your cues, it's honestly really impressive as a performer to like see her do this. Let alone these like costume changes that she has to do that I'm sure have to be quicker. With the movie, it was probably just kind of just editing,
Mhm.
and I think you could tell that too. But to just get in
You
and out of
right.
costume, like, and to not portray like tiredness, I think that's a big thing that is hard to do. I don't know. I've never done that.
Yeah, I mean, and also like the whatever kind of makeup she was wearing, it did she didn't even, like Ben was saying, didn't look tired at all throughout it.
Hmm.
Like,
I'd be sweating. I mean, I'm fat, so that probably would be the big reason. But just like all the dancing, I mean, if I could gyrate my hips like they were, I would just be drenched, you know?
yeah. One minor thing that I liked seeing, because for every different era, she would like change the stage around. She would change her outfit. She also
Mm.
had a unique microphone for every era,
Yeah, it's
which
just
it's just attention to detail. Which, I bet if a billion people who were there, maybe the front row could see that.
I was about to
Like,
say, yeah, no one, I mean, unless you're watching the Jumbotron, which a lot of people probably were, I mean, you probably wouldn't
mm,
notice that. I think that's neat. Like you said,
mhm.
attention to detail, which is so cool. Uh, Another thing I find, so we mentioned the stage and it like raising up and down. Um, let's talk a little bit about the music, Cameron.
All right, I'll let you start out.
Yeah, so I'll start. Like I said, I knew very little about Taylor Swift, and do I like her music? I think it's good. I do think it's good. I'm not, like I said, I'm not gonna get the Taylor Swift tattoo yet. I'm not that, uh crazy for her. But I do enjoy a lot of her music. I think she gets a bad rep for all of her songs being about her boyfriends all the time. Uh I think it's still really catchy. Even if I, don't care sometimes, I'm still like bobbing my head and like,
Yeah.
I can get into it. Which is segues into a question I have for you. What is your favorite era?
Uh, See, that's asking me to remember the songs of the different eras. I mean, I guess the only if I had to pick one, it would probably be whichever one was the earliest, because that's when I remembered most of the songs.
Wait,
But
is that
like,
was that Lover?
I don't know. That's the thing. I went into it not knowing the lore, and I left being like, those are some good songs, and I still don't know the lore.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
but yeah, yeah, I am more of a fan of her earlier stuff because that's just what I grew up on, and so I know them more. Um,
yeah.
I will say, as far as like the quality of the songs that she picked, there was really only one that I could say I didn't like, and that was "Look What You Made Me Do." I just don't like that one.
You don't
Um,
like that one?
I don't like that one.
Why not?
Because I don't like the way that it sounds, and I don't like the music part of it, of the song. So the, the part of the song
Um,
that is a song.
I will
Uh,
say I do have a favorite era.
yeah.
Mine's Reputation. I don't know if that's
You're
a
gonna have to
liked
remind me what that is.
a
Like,
liked
what were
era.
some of the
Well, that's
songs
the
from
thing.
that?
I don't know like any of the songs in it at all. It was the first pop one that was in the tour. That was the one with the
What was
snakes.
the snakes? Yeah. Okay.
Um, and
Though, yeah.
that one was pretty aggressive, and I like that. I also think it was a good like change of pace that was needed. I
Mhm.
think in my opinion, because I think it's By the Door. Sorry, it's down there. Oh, thank you. Sorry, there was a spider. I had to get my wife to kill it because I'm scared of them. Anyways, I think that was my favorite era. My least favorite is probably I can't remember if it was Folklore or Evermore. I can't remember it. Which one was not the one with the cabin?
Oh, most of them didn't have a cabin.
That's fair. Um, it was either way. Um, there was one I felt like. Well, you probably had this thing too. Is since we're not the biggest Swifties, you know, and we're not that knowledgeable of the story of everything. I was kind of losing interest towards the end and kind of waiting for it to end. But I think that's just my fault because I haven't listened to any of her discography.
Yeah.
So I mean I was just kind of hard to like
I'd say I
stay
disagree,
involved with it.
but I
Really?
understand. I mean, uh part of it for me was experiencing the songs for the first time and just seeing like where she's gone since I stopped listening. And also, I feel like the set pieces towards the end were very elaborate. You know, they had
Mhm.
bikes like Tron bikes, and they had like
Yeah.
uh chairs and stuff. Like there was some cool stuff going on towards the end. I think she kept it fresh. I don't think I was ever like, okay, you've done
I
this
never
three
thought it
times
was
by
getting
now.
I never thought it was getting dull. I just think for me personally,
I mean, yeah, 2 hours and 45 minutes. That's it's literally just a compilation of songs. If you're
yeah.
someone who doesn't know what's going on, it kept my attention, and that's pretty
But
impressive.
and that's because she is such an amazing performer. Like
Yeah,
her stage presence alone and the way that she can get you involved and her interactiveness involved with like whatever she's doing is the biggest reason on why it's so enjoyable to watch. And I honestly had a great time at the theater. I can't imagine me watching this. I would have like I probably wouldn't have any fun if I just watched this at my house. I think being at the theater was a big plus, and I think it would have been even better if we had a lot more people also
yeah.
in our
Feeding off
auditorium.
of like other people's excitement for it was a good thing. Like they would show the girl next to me, she was crying at some points in the show,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it's awesome that you're impacted so much by this. I am just gonna bop my head though. That's like,
Right.
uh,
I think it's stupid that people make fun of them for crying. Uh because I think they're very passionate about this, and you have to think this is like an artist they've grown up with. You know what I
right,
mean? This
yeah,
is not to be kind of cringy or anything, but this is like legitimately like one of their idols. This is the person that they've probably looked up to for so long, and I mean, getting a chance to see them in theaters, I think it's very similar to put it to like a director we really like. Where it's you know I love all of Steven Spielberg stuff. You know
if
what I
Steven
mean?
Spielberg had a concert, I would be crying. If Steven Spielberg got
Yeah.
on the stage and started singing, I
If
would shed a
Steven
tear.
Spielberg was gyrating his hips, I would lose it. I
Yeah.
would.
Apparently that was
Oh my.
cut from Ready Player One. What a shame.
It apparently was cut from the Eras tour. We didn't
Yeah.
have Martin Scorsese there twerking. Uh anyways,
So here's the things. I looked it up. I don't think this is eligible for Oscars.
I saw you typing that.
Yeah.
And why not?
I think they have a rule against movies that are like promotional in nature being like like a contender for the Oscars. So this might be considered like a commercial for her
I don't
stuff.
think it would get nominated anyways with
I don't
looking at what
either.
we have,
If
but it is
anything,
an
it would
interesting
probably be
thing.
like, no, I really can't think of anything to get nominated for. But
I can think of one thing not Oscar related, and that's the Golden Globes nominate musicals and comedies,
well,
and
yeah,
so
that's
do
a
the
different
Emmys.
thing entirely.
So Bo Burnham and his Inside, was it Inside Out or Inside?
It's just Inside. Inside Out is the Pixar movie.
That's right, that's right. Inside was running against Hamilton for best original song.
Yeah.
So of course he lost, which is honestly kind of unfair, but because also, I mean, you can get into the whole thing of like Hamilton came out like 6 years ago, but the fact that they put it on Disney Plus made it eligible for like 2020 awards is
Yeah.
kind of unethical in my opinion. Um, but like that's the thing too. This might be able to win a Grammy because it could be best soundtrack in a movie.
Yeah,
So
I don't know the specifics. Here's the question. Are you gonna go see the Beyonce tour movie?
no, I don't know. Probably not. The thing is,
So
I know
yeah.
with how little I know about Taylor Swift, you can uh basically multiply that by 100 of how I don't know anything about Beyonce. I know she's Queen Bee, but that's all I know.
Hmm. I
What
also
about you?
don't know. I mean, if you're not going, I'm not going. Like you said, I'm not gonna just go by myself. But yeah, I don't know anything about Beyonce either. Uh
I,
I
I
know
will
a
say it
little
was
I mean, I know she did Single Ladies, right? If you like it, then you should have put a ring on it.
yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
uh to the left, to the is that was that her too?
I don't want to.
Is that the same song?
I I I don't want to say anything because if I'm wrong, it's gonna be bad.
Right. Oh, because Beyonce would be pretty upset with us too.
At our Uno games, she might have
Oh,
seen
she's
this
there
by then.
too?
Yeah,
No way. Oh
it's
man.
the Queens of Pop Uno tournament. I,
And Cameron. Because you host it, right?
you know how in Phineas and Ferb the mom had like a secret singing career that happened before they.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I kind of have something like that going on.
Really.
Yeah.
I will say it was nice of us to invite my wife to come with us to the Eras tour.
Yeah. Um.
uh, I was like, babe, Cameron really wants you to come to the Eras tour with us. You think you wanna come? She was like, yeah. No, I was hoping Taylor Swift was gonna be at her theater. Apparently she was going to different movie theaters. What I think she was too nervous to meet us in person, so that's probably why she didn't show up.
Well, I do bad.
Um,
I talk bad about you all the time at our Uno games, so she probably didn't want to meet you.
serious, dude.
Yep.
The heck?
But if it makes you feel better, I only stick to the truth. You know, I'd never make up anything to make you look bad. You give me enough material anyway.
Wow.
Joking, I'm joking.
There's
But
gonna be some bad blood between us.
yep, even though we
So
used to be best buds.
but now we're not.
um
uh,
so yeah, this has been episode 33.
yeah, it has.
I don't we can't make any promises about the future of the podcast. We do want to do something for our anniversary.
We're gonna
We
record a
do.
year-long episode, and it's
Yep.
going to be long.
uh
Um,
we want to talk about Heartland, and I'm sure we're probably going to talk about Killers of the Flower Moon
mhm.
at some
Oh yeah,
point.
we
um
did see that.
but no promises on any of that stuff. No
Yeah,
promises that this episode even comes out. Maybe me and Ben are going to be the only ones to see it, who knows.
yes.
But
We're just gonna rewatch it over and over again.
yeah, put in the comments below, did I remember to cut out the part where Ben got scared at a spider?
Oh no,
Yeah.
I'm voting no.
All right, well, we'll see. That being said, I've been Cameron,
I've been Ben.
and you're watching What Did You Think? See you
Do
next
do
time.
do do.